Welcome to the Hockey Writers Inc., the show where the writer is fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry. Relax, the keyboard is off and the press box is closed, but the mic is just getting warmed up. Join your host, Lance Green, the guardian of the blue paint turned writer, and your co-host, Ron, SteelFlyers, as we bring you all the latest on the Philadelphia Flyers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next edition of the Hockey Writers Inc. with your host, Lance Green.
All right, guys, Flyers hockey is officially back. Lord knows it's been a long wait, but it's back. We're starting on the road, and we got some stuff to talk about here, Steel.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, for sure, it was great having Jimmy back. And Bush back. They were in mid-season form already in the first two games, and the Flyers open up on the road with back-to-backs. First game at Vancouver, second game at Calgary, and they get the night off. Then they have to play against Edmonton tomorrow, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's going to be a tough test there.
That's a tough Western Canada swing there, buddy. Okay. So we're going to get into it here for sure, in this Philadelphia Flyers-centric podcast. Big thanks to the editor-in-chief of SteelFlyers.com. Thank you, Mr. Lance, as our host, and I'm your co-host, Ron, SteelFlyers, and we are going to get into episode number 179. That's right, episode 179. And I love the title of this show because it ties directly in with Lance's article that he just put out here not too long ago. You got to go over to SteelFlyers.com and go check that out. But here we go, episode 179. Isn't it about time to start rooting for the Philadelphia Flyers? Lance, look, you and I both saw the collapse of the Phillies. You know, they got
Red
to the
October's
postseason.
Over, yeah.
Yeah, right. We saw the Red October go away quickly. Right, we're not really sure what the Eagles are going to be this year just yet.
That's
they look
scary. It's scary. Yeah, I mean, they pulled out a win today, but against the Browns, and there was a lot of commotion on the sidelines. It looks like he's lost that team. And of course, the Sixers. I mean, I'm not trusting that process anymore. I don't know about you. I mean, yeah, Paul George is nice, but when is he healthy? I don't know. I just don't know what they're doing over there either.
Right. So there you go, man. It's just what Lance said in his article. It's just what we're going to talk about here in episode 179 here. It's just about time now, I think, y'all start rooting for the Philadelphia Flyers, because what Danny Briere and what Keith Jones and what Halferty and this organization has done in the last 2.5 years, right? Because Danny took over kind of halfway through there or towards the end. And so I'd say in about 2.5 years, this is what Danny Briere has done with this organization and what they've tried to put together. And we got to see that opening night against Vancouver. We got to see that, all preseason. We got to see that again against Calgary Flames. But it's just what you talk about, Lance. Why should the fans be listening and be watching what's going on with the Philadelphia Flyers? And in your latest article that you posted out on SteelFlyers.com and also on SpiderSports.com, go check both of those places out for Lance's latest article. Exactly what we're talking about here. It's about time to start rooting for the Philadelphia Flyers after the latest events that have happened in Philly. And let's get into that, man. Let's get into the inspiration and why you felt the need to kind of say this.
Well, I mean, we just kind of touched on it, Steel. I mean, all other sports in Philadelphia, you can talk the union choking, like everybody's kind of getting to that big game and choking or not pulling it out. And the Phillies most recently and the And the Eagles, with their problems that they're having, they're way too good on paper and to be this bad so far this season. And it's kind of refreshing that the Flyers have come in and started back, and there's hope right now again. Like it's been a bad stretch for a couple of years, and with Chuck Fletcher and everything else, kind of dragging this team down and everything. But since Danny's came in, and since Keith Jones and Hafferty and Tortorello have kind of come in and kind of started to right that ship, you can see the forward progress here in a short amount of time, especially with guys like Michkov, who's over here playing in his rookie season. He's 19 years old. He's had a lot of pro experience already, playing parts of 3 seasons in the KHL already. So he's not coming over here essentially a rookie, even though he's a rookie to the NHL level. He's been playing some big games in some big situations over there in Russia for quite some time, and he's only 20, or he's only 19 years old. He was drafted in 2023, and he showed you what he can bring to the table there. Already you're seeing his play behind the net standing out. I mean, that's Gretzky written all over it right there. I'm not trying to say the kid's the next Gretzky, but that was his wheelhouse back there. Ovechkin's got his wheelhouse at the behind the side dot. Gretzky had his wheelhouse behind the net, and Mishkov likes to be behind there. They've scored 2 power play goals in 2 games. I mean, this is the league's 2-time defending worst power play team in the league, back-to-back years before this season. And they scored 2 power play goals in 2 games. That's exciting in itself. And Michkov has played a big part in that. And I think you'll see as it goes on, the familiarity and Konechny's right on it most times. Mishkov's going to get you the puck, and he's just got to get used to putting his stick down, because I don't think he's played with a player of his caliber before. I mean, and we're talking Giroux and Voracek as well. But Michkov is a young man who is a very, very exciting player. Potentially, he was the second best player out of that draft class, but he fell to us because of his contract status in the KHL, and he should have still been playing over there. But Comcast, I think, in the Flyers may have helped in that situation and getting him over here and getting him out of his contract a little early. So kudos to them and Danny Briere for doing that, because he's ready. You're seeing that in games, and when he steps on the ice, he's amazing. You know what I mean? It's can't miss TV. When you can't get up for a second when he's on the ice, you can't run to the bathroom because you're going to miss something. And that is the type of player that the Flyers have missed. But not only his efforts, but what he does for the other players that he plays with. Steel, I think the most you can see that with was in the preseason when you saw guys like him playing with Morgan Frost. Morgan Frost
look like an all-star.
Yeah, he was making Morgan Frost look like an all-star just by being on a line with him. And it's not just that he can get him the puck and Frost is able to finish it. It's rebuilding a lost sense of confidence in these players that came up in the Giroux era and the Voracek era, where they honestly were just kind of used to mediocrity and used to kind of winning some games, kind of losing some games, and maybe missing out on the playoffs, or just getting in the playoffs and getting knocked out in the first round. They were used to that. And, this management has come in and cleared out all those guys and got rid of all those cancers in the locker room, and is replacing them with this new youthful core that is hungry right now. You're seeing these guys hungry to win games, hungry to play for these fans not necessarily yet on a regular season standpoint, but they're coming. They're going to come back home here soon, and fans are going to see that this team is different, and that's just through Michkov. I mean, what do you think about Michkov, Steel?
Well, for one, let me just say this: that the article that you did was an amazing article, because I think it touched on exactly why some of the things that you just said here about why fans should be tuning into the Flyers in Philadelphia and across the land. You know what I mean? And I have been impressed with what this leadership has done. Look, over the last 2 years, you and I have talked ad nauseum about what was wrong with this organization and why they weren't winning. And Danny Briere and Keith Jones have gone out and made those corrections that we said were, hey, the medical staff, hey, the scouting staff, hey, the this, hey, the that, hey,
development staff, yeah.
You mean, okay, right. All this stuff has all been replaced, and it's all different people in there, and it's all a different attitude now. It's the whole new Brie era now, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you see that sense of, okay, we know where we want to be, but we're not there yet, so we got to do things so we can get to that point. Mm-hmm. And then not only do we want to just get to that point, we want to continually stay at that level so that we can just maintain and always be, look, when I first started watching the Flyers way back in 1992, right, there was a string of 28 years where the Flyers missed the playoffs 3 times in 28 years. Now, I don't know about you, but as far as I'm concerned, where is that again? Can we have that again? Can we get that back again? Right? And I think that drafting of a Michkov, and you didn't even talk about the drafting of Jett.
Yeah, right? I was going to get to that. Yep.
Right? We didn't even talk about Arison. We didn't even talk about Fedotov. Right? We haven't even talked about some of these other guys that, are going to be major contributors to this team, okay, that are very young, rookie-esque, you know what I mean, and having healthy players. That in and of itself was a huge issue from the team last year. So I'm very much impressed with your article, Lance, because I think it's high time that people started paying a little bit more closer attention to the Flyers and be rooting for the Flyers. You know what I mean? And I think you're going to start seeing more butts in the seats this year, not just because of, it's a new Briere, but also because of the Michkovs, the Luchenkos, the Arisons, the Fedotovs, the, the Brinks, the Emil Andres, the, all the youth movement, the Tyson Forsters, the, all these young guys that are making major, contributions to this team. If they make the steps forward, and if there are improvements in some areas of this team, then, yeah. As far as what I think of Michkov, there hasn't been a player in Philadelphia that's been that exciting since Lindros. There really hasn't.
Yeah.
Okay? The buzz around this young player is amazing. And he is worth the price of admission. Okay? The plays that I've seen him do, not just in the preseason, but in these 2 games that we saw, the plays that I've seen are things that I've never seen done in orange and black in a really, really long time. Okay? And the vision that this kid has is not something that I've seen in orange and black in a really, really long time. Okay? For somebody 19 coming in to have that kind of, vision and skill set, hey man, can we draft another one like him? Can we get another one?
That's something right there that is got to be done, I think. And they're going to have 6 different draft picks in the first 2 rounds this upcoming year, and I think
Yeah.
that's what they
Yeah.
need to do because
Yeah.
they need to get a finisher. Michkov is a great player in his own right. He can score, but he's more of a setter up. He can set guys up. He can lay a nice assist, and you're even seeing that in guys like Travis Konechny, where if they capitalized on the amount of scoring chances that Michkov provided on a nightly basis, oh my gosh, we would be, 1 or 2 in the division, no doubt. But we don't really have that elite finisher. And I think with 3 first-round picks and potentially 3 second-round picks, that we're going to be able to land one to coexist with him in the future here. And I don't think it's necessarily Jett Lachenko. Jett Lachenko is a speedster. He needs to be kind of on a line by himself. I see him as potentially a top 6 forward for sure. I like what he did in the first game. He skated really well. Of course, that's his forte. But, he was an exciting player to watch too. He was creating chances. He was rushing the play. He was getting, as I said in my article, he was getting those players to kind of that Pied Piper esque just gravitate towards him, and it opens up everybody else on the ice. And I can't think of another way to say that, but if you watch him closely, his speed alone draws even the best defenseman to him like a moth to a light, because this guy is so quick. They're worried about getting burned, but yet he can pass that puck too, and it leaves guys wide open. And I think the scoring chances will be there, but I think he's probably on that second line, third line player that's going to be exciting for the future when I'm talking down the road. But you hit on a good point too earlier, where this team has cleaned house, everybody up front and everything like that. And they brought in guys like John LeClaire as a special advisor, hockey operations. They brought in Patrick Sharp. They just brought in Wayne Simmons. Okay.
Hello.
Amazing hockey player, amazing hockey mind, great young guy that these guys watched growing
One
up.
of our favorites.
One of everybody's favorite in
That's
Philadelphia.
right.
And these kids seen him playing. It's John LeClaire. These younger guys may have not seen him play, but
Right.
they respect this man for what he did because they can remember what he did. You talk about Sami Kapanen coming in. You talk about Danny Heatley, one of my favorite players of all time,
Yep.
being a scout. Oh my God, he's an amazing talent in his own right. And to have that kind of eye looking for the next Flyers for us, these are the guys that, man, I like what they're doing. They're cleaning the Shell Samuelsons out. They're cleaning all these guys out that are old, that have been hanging on to a job just because, they were a Flyer for
Well,
so
whatever.
long. And hey, thanks for what you did when you played, but you really have been slacking on the other stuff. So Briere and company have been not only doing stuff that's going to affect on the ice directly with the players that they've been drafting, but they've been the development, the scouting, the everything on the back end that you don't see on an everyday basis is gotten loads better. And I think that's why they were able to get these 2 type guys, with their first round picks from each of the last 2 drafts. And as excited as I am for this season, I'm super excited to see with how many draft picks they have, how many great players that they're going to be able to bring in with this next draft class. As you know, guys, we do another show on here, Prospect Watch, where we bring on some great young draft eligible talent. And I believe we got one this week coming up, Steel. So stay tuned to that for sure to see a new episode of that. But as far as the article, I think we touched on that and everything that, you go read that because, it was kind of prelude to the season, but it's about what we're doing. And Steele, you talked about I'm going to jump into the first game and talk about that a little bit here. But you look at that first game, and one of the younger guys out there that impressed was the goaltender, right? I mean, you look at an amazing netminder who stepped up in Sam Erison last year when Carter Hart flew the coop.
I mean, he
We'll
played
just say that.
51 games last year.
Yep. And he stepped up huge in that first period. Steele, another guy that's under 25 on this team, and he stepped up so big. The Flyers were struggling defensively in that first period, and he just kept them in it and allowed them to stay in the game.
Yeah.
Because they could have been down easily by 2 goals in that first period really quick, and he kept them in the game. He let them know that he was going to be back there to backstop them and be solid. And you saw that confidence get going in them. I'm sure that flight all the way out to Vancouver was tiresome and everything else, so they need to get their legs under them, and he allowed them to do that time to be able to do that. And another young guy that under 25 group was Tyson Forrester, who scored a goal in that game. And I'm projecting him to have a big year this year. I think he had a great year last year, but I think this kid could easily touch 20 to 25 goals, depending if he stays healthy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like him. He's a shooter, big time NHL shot, even when he was in juniors.
Yeah.
He had 20 goals last year, Steele, and I think not a whole lot of people know that or realize that. He had 20 goals last year for the Flyers, and man, I think he could top that easily and touch 25 this year. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people this year.
I think so too, and I think I'm going to get into the first game as well too. But first thing I want to do is say a big, huge shout out for the music that we get to play for the opening of the show here. Lowercase Blues, man, you got to go check them out. It's lowercaseblues.net. Got to go check them out. They're on Facebook. They're on Instagram. They play a lot in the Delmarva area. So if you get a chance, go check them out. It's lowercaseblues.net. Go check them out. Big props and thanks to our boy Jake for giving us this great music and permission to do the great music that you guys get to listen to for the introduction of the show. So go check out Lowercase Blues, man. I'm here to tell you they are some of the best live music you're going to hear, man. This is good stuff, man. So lowercaseblues.net for sure, man. Go check them out.
For sure. Check them out on YouTube. They got tons of videos and stuff of their amazing live band. Each musician in that band is amazing in their own right on their instrument. And just great local live band that I have no clue why they aren't signed. They played and opened for everybody under the sun in the blues community. So big props to them. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, for sure, man. You definitely get the Hockey Writers Inc. salute for that, though, for sure. So big props and appreciation for that. All right. Also, would like to say a big thank you to Sports Spider for getting all of Lance's articles out there, getting for the latest Hockey Writers Inc. show out there, and getting all the latest SteelFlyers All Sports Network stuff out there, man. Be sure to go check out Sports Spider. Click on your favorite team where you'll see great information for the Flyers about what's going on with the team here, coming from SteelFlyers.com. So be sure to check out SportsSpider.com to get all your latest on your sports and especially Philadelphia Flyers news and latest updates on scores and articles and podcasts. Be sure to go check out SportsSpider.com. All right, Lance, here we go. Game 1, Vancouver. I got to tell you, I had no idea what to expect in this game, and I was very, very pleasantly surprised with what I saw. It was a carryover from the preseason that I saw when we got to see most of the starters play. Now, the 8 days in between the last preseason game and the opening game, I mean, Eric Johnson even came out and said, after that first game, he said, "Man," he said, "that was hard." He said, "Having that 8 days and then having to be back up again for a game," he said, "that was hard." And he said, "Thanks to Airson for playing so well to give us the time to
Right.
get our legs under us for that first period, and then after that we were good to go." I'm like, "Well, all right, so
Right.
here we go. Game 1 against Vancouver. Lance, what do you think?"
Yeah, I mean, just looked great. I mean, they continued their streak. I think that's 10 season openers in a row that they won. So
Or gotten points in.
yep, at least gotten points in. So, kudos to them. As far as Michkov went, he was special. I already talked about Tyson Forrester scoring a big goal for the
Oh, yeah.
Flyers in that game.
Loved his game.
I like what I seen from a healthy Jamie Drysdale in that game. I don't know if you guys heard it, but he went out and put a lot of weight, a lot of muscle on in the off season to kind
Yes,
of
he did.
boost him up. He was a little, light, so he ate his chicken and potatoes and put on a couple pounds there.
Yeah.
And kudos to him for doing that. Hopefully that's going to help him, be
he
a little
looked
bit
good, too.
more solid and be able to stay a lot more games because we know that's kind of been his Achilles heel there. But as far as Jett, I think he played very well as well. I think he is only 18 years old. He is the youngest Flyer to ever start a game in the NHL. So kudos to him just for that. But still, I really don't know why he sat for the second game. I really don't know why, especially with them only having 9 games to be able to see what he's got. So
Okay, well, so this is what that is one of the reasons why I think he sat, because they only have 9 games. This was a back-to-back game. He's just 18, so he's still used to only playing, you know, maybe 60 games a season. You know what I mean? Where they don't run
spaced
games
out,
back.
true, yeah.
They don't run games back to back. They run games, every, weekend, or they'll run 3 or 4 games Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Right? So they're not running. That could be one of the other reasons. The fact that it's a back to back game, he only has 9. I think you want to give him the best opportunity.
I don't know if it runs how that works. If it runs, consecutive like 9 calendar games or
No,
9
it's
games
9
for
games
him.
you play. 9 games you play.
I don't know how that works. It's been a while since we've had a prospect that's been that young and able to jump in. So,
right. But still, though, either way, I don't really care. He's gonna sit some nights. That's just how it's gonna be. And the reason why I'm saying that is this. I think what Tortorella is trying to do is put him in the best situation possible. So if you don't blow him out the first part of the season, then guess what? You don't have him at the end of the year when you need him.
I don't know, because I can see it from both sides there. I mean,
right.
The best possible thing for him is going to be to play games. He's young. He needs to play games. So, if this continues and he's going to sit another game here and there, just send him back to juniors at this point. If you're not going to use him every day in the lineup, he does not need to be playing, third line minutes. I think he would benefit more. As much as I would love to have him in the lineup, if he's not going to make that lineup right now in the top 6, send him back. Send him back to juniors. Let him play top line minutes. Let him play top power play minutes. Let him play top penalty killing minutes.
No, I'm with you.
In that sense, like it's one game. I'm okay with one game, but if it continues and you're going to sit this kid, just let him go back to juniors. If you're not going to utilize him on every, as an everyday basis, in my mind, that's.
No, I'm with you. No, I understand, and I wanted to touch on that, but let's just see. Maybe there was an issue or an injury that we don't know about. That you know what I mean. It's a possibility that we all know that NHL teams are not exactly forthcoming with all of their injury information. You know what I mean? So there could have been an injury or something that we don't know about, or maybe he's sick. We're never going to be privy to that. So
very interesting, though, with two rookies in the lineup like that, and Macklin Celebrini, the number 1 overall pick, going down
IR
for IR. Might be a good shot for guys like Michkov or Lachenko to boost up the points right now while he's out on IR. Celebrini's out on IR, and try to get a Rookie of the Year. Flyers haven't had one of those in quite some time. So
I'm with you, or even a consideration for one.
Right.
But okay, so Flyers win Game 1 against Vancouver in overtime with the shootout. We got to see Frost be the hero for the day and score the goal to put the Flyers over top to get the 2 points, okay, against Vancouver, making the Philadelphia Flyers 8-3-1 in their last 11 opening games, and they've scored points in all 11 games now, right? The Flyers also have the third youngest team, or have 15 players all under 25, right? That's the most in any of all the leagues the whole league put together, right? Everybody else has 11 players. Philadelphia has 15. So you talking about Jett, you talking about Michkov, there's more. A whole other one like Tyson Forster, like Owen Tippett, like Jamie Drysdale, like Cam York, like you know what I mean. Even Travis Konecny now. He's a little past that age, but Farabee is another one that's under that age. You know what I mean? And
York, Zumala, yeah.
There's a whole list of guys that are on this team that are under that age. So I'm really impressed with what we saw in that first game, the tenacity, and I really liked how the team played, how they faced adversity and was able to overcome it, right? So that was Game 1 against Vancouver. The very next night, they fly to and play a game against the Calgary Flames. This was Calgary Flames' home opener. Now, a couple shows ago, Lance and I did a tribute to Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matty, right? And we're all sad, and I like the decals that they have for Johnny and Matty. They have their numbers on a decal. They have a number, and then they have their initials or whatever. But I like the decal. And Philadelphia goes in after playing the night before in Vancouver, so they have to fly into Calgary. They get there at 3:00 in the morning, right? And now you're going in there against Calgary's home opener, and they have a 20-minute emotional celebration for Johnny Gaudreau. And you played the night before, and Calgary's been sitting there waiting for you after resting a day, right? I really didn't think there was any chance that Philadelphia was going to win this game. And frankly, I was very impressed with the fact that they were in it up until the end.
Yeah, they did kind of fall apart at the end there, for sure. 6-3 final score with that one. Konecny had a heck of a game with 2 goals. What can you say? Calgary is a team that went out and got a lot of pieces in the offseason. Their lineup is grossly different, from Huberdeau
Oh yeah.
coming in, the Kadri still being there, you know, Uyghur coming over from Florida. You know, they brought in Anthony Mantha from
Yep.
Washington
Yep.
now, which is, you know, a very underrated player in my mind. You know, just Lomberg from Florida, I believe. You know, a
Yeah.
lot of different pieces in there, and then you saw their young goaltender Dustin Wolf come in and who dominated in the AHL last season. So, you know, yeah, they're still the Calgary Flames, and they haven't really been the same uh, since Johnny left. But you know, I think they're starting to come back too, just like the Flyers, you know, are
Yeah.
here. So um, I think they got a lot more win now pieces than the Flyers have, and the Flyers are still very youthful, and
Yeah.
um, you know, building from within, and you know, everything like that. So it's taking two little different approaches there, but you know, you can't be mad at Calgary for coming in and wanting to win their home game. They're now 2-0. Um, I don't know when the last time they started a season out 2-0. It's been rough for them as well. So, you know, we're going to see what the Flyers have in store for you know, Edmonton, like you said, but it's going to be a tough one, you know, Tuesday. So it's
There's
going to be
one.
tough for me to stay up again.
You know.
You know,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
these
Right.
late night
Yeah.
games
Right.
here.
10:30 puck drop. It's like, hey, wait a minute. I
Yeah,
live on the East Coast, and
right,
you know that's 1 o'clock here for me when that game's over. You know, or if it
right.
goes into overtime like we had the other night. You
Yeah.
know, it was like 1:30, 2 o'clock till we got to the shootout and everything. I'm like, all right. Here's the thing, though. I think there has to be that excitement with this team because it's very much deserved. Um, with the youth that we have here at the Flyers, at this level now, I think that is well deserved. This hype that we're getting with this
Yeah.
team. You know what I mean? And I'm okay. Look, I know there's going to be games that this team is going to lose. That's just how it's going to be, right? That's just how every season is. You're not going to. We're not at that level to be President Trophy contenders, right? So that means that you're going to lose some games. You're going to lose some games that you probably should win, and you're probably going to win some games you probably should have lost, right? And that's how this year is how I'm figuring this year is going to go, right?
Mm.
If you do all the things that we said, improve on the power play, like here's two things that I saw that I haven't seen the team do in a really long time. And it has to do with what you talked about earlier, Lance, and that is the play and the effect of Matvey Michkov to this team. With him being out there on the power play and being as creative as he is, I saw two plays. In one was in the Vancouver game and another was in the Calgary game, right? I saw two plays that he made that I was just like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the play that I saw against Vancouver where he was he was spinning back around, he had his back towards the goalie, and he was kind of spinning around, and he did a between the legs backhander for a shot on goal. What? And then the pass that he did when they were on the power play and he was coming down the slot, right? And he saw Konechny standing over there in the corner of the net. And
Yeah,
he
his
got the
vision is
puck.
amazing.
He got the puck right to him. And now TK completely whiffed and had a wide open net and he completely whiffed on. But the vision that this young player has, I'm very excited about what's going to happen with these Flyers this year. There's going to be some good games. There's going to be some not so good games. But all in all, I think this is going to be a super exciting year, Lance, and I am ready to go, man. Let's get flyered up. Okay, here we go, man. Regular season is upon us. We are playing games that matter, finally.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, everybody's going to have to wake up and realize when they're on ice with Michkov that they need to keep their stick on the ice and they need to be ready for a pass at any moment, because the amount of scoring chances this young man, creates every time he's on the ice, it's one of those players, Steel, like we talked about, that we needed for so long. Just a threat that every time you put this young man out on the ice, something good is going to happen. And I don't see many shifts of his where he doesn't create a, a scoring chance, or at least a driving play towards the net. So good things are going to come. I think, as Konechny and others that, realize this, that they're going to get better with it. But Steel, as we promised, though, we're going to talk some Phantoms too. And
Yeah.
they did win a game Saturday as well. So they started out the season 1-0 now. They won 4-3 over the Wolfpack and went to a shootout. But some players I like there, man, is that Anthony Richard, who I wrote about recently.
You mean,
I thought he
so his
did
name is
really well in
Richard.
preseason.
His
Richard,
name is
yeah.
Richard. Anthony
Richard,
Richard.
yes, yeah. Yep. Richard did amazing in the preseason. I really like him as a call-up option for sure. If somebody goes down with injury, I think he pushes the play. And he got a goal and an assist in that game for 2 points in that first game of the season for them. So Tumala looks better too. Samu. We've been kind of waiting. He was a second round pick a couple of years ago now, and he's taken some time to really get going here and getting used to this North American game. But, he did have a goal and an assist as well in that game. And I think, potentially playing with a guy like Richard, who did very well in the AHL last season and the season before that as well.
I thought he had a great camp this year for the Flyers as well.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And I think that was a wise signing, again, by, Danny Briere with questions at center, for the Flyers. This is a young man who came in on a cheap, and could possibly play some games with the Flyers this year for sure, as he did with Boston last season. And, I'm not going to be mad if he does, for sure. Obviously you don't want to lose somebody to injury or whatever the case may be, but it happens. It's an 82 game schedule. It's a tough game. So if somebody goes down, and he's going to be more than capable of stepping up, and his skates are there. He plays the game heads up. And I really like what I've seen from him in preseason. So I think he's going to have a great year for the Phantoms this year.
And I think we might actually get that because in Game 2 with in the Flyers against the Phantoms, Morgan Frost went down with an injury. It took him a little while to come back, and then when he did come back, he wasn't exactly right. So something might be going on. So we might get that first opportunity here with a Phantoms call-up, maybe even just as an emergency backup, you know what I mean? Which is a shame because that means they're not going to play. But I was very much impressed with what the Phantoms did in their opening game. Even though they went to a shootout, I thought that everybody played well in that game. You know what I mean? It seemed like it was a continuation from last year. Like they made the playoffs. They didn't exactly, go where they wanted to get to in the playoffs, but they made the playoffs. They made a statement in the playoffs that they were there, and I think this first game was just a continuation of them. You know what I mean? To come out and play like that against the Wolfpack. You know what I'm saying?
It may have been a little bit different too if Emil Andre wasn't called up either. So if he was still playing with them, that would have been probably one of their top players there as well. So we shall see where it goes for them. But man, I think we covered a lot, and it was an exciting opening weekend for the Flyers, and can't wait to see them come back home here eventually. and have a
in
home
6
opener here.
days.
Yeah.
In 6 days.
They still got a ways to go. Yeah.
Right,
But
right.
it's a good team bonding, being on the road for all that time. And, right at the start of the season, these guys are going to get real familiar with each other, to the newcomers and everything else. And, spend some time in the hotels
If
together
they're
and
gonna
everything
have
like
it,
that.
yeah.
So, you know, kudos to them
Yeah.
for a decent start, I would say, this weekend, and definitely interested in seeing what they're going to do against red hot Edmonton Oilers.
Exactly, and also going to see what the Phantoms are going to do with their next couple of games. One of them being against Hershey or Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins here next weekend for the Phantoms. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
that's going to be a good one there for sure. So be sure to check that one out. So. Um, Lance, really appreciate all that you do, man. All the articles and everything that you do here for the Hockey Writers Inc. and everything that you do for the SteelFlyers All Sports Network. We really appreciate all of the Facebook groups. Really appreciate you guys allowing us to post out all of Lance's articles and all of our shows. We really appreciate all the feedback that we get from you, and we really love the platform that you guys provide and allow us to have. So big props and thanks to all the Facebook groups out there for allowing us to post out our shows and our content and everything else like that. Also, want to say a big props and thanks to sportspider.com. Be sure to go to check them out for all of your latest Philadelphia Flyers and sports news, where you get to see all of Lance's latest articles and all of our latest podcasts on sportspider.com. And also like to say thank you to Spreaker for getting us out there to all the podcasting platforms. That all you have to do is go out there and type in Hockey Writers Inc. and you get us up there, and then you just give us a 5-star rating, and then that helps us to be what we currently are right now is a ranked top 10 ranked Philadelphia Flyers podcast for the Philadelphia Flyers. So big props and thanks to all you folks out there. Lance, we got a good one tonight, don't you think?
Yeah, man. It was great covering actual games again.
I know. Games that count.
And watching them. It was a long summer, but a good summer.
Sure.
Some prospects already shining within the Flyers system, and with two of them obviously making the team right out the gate. So we'll have to see if Lachenko can hold on. But good things to come for the Flyers for sure in the future.
Exactly, and definitely a reason for all of the Philadelphia fans to be jumping on the Philadelphia Flyers wagon for this season for sure. A lot of exciting things are going to happen this year, so you definitely need to be checking it out. Thank you all out for tuning in and checking us out. I'm your co-host Ron Steel Flyers, and this has been the Hockey Writers Inc. And we will catch you all on the next episode.